Hey there, IT enthusiasts. Welcome to another episode of My Computer Careers Get Into IT Live, where we do just that, get into all things IT. Really glad to be with you again on a Friday, on a cold Friday where we are here in North Carolina. But, it's nice to see some snow every once in a while down here. So all is well. Hope things are great with each of you. Today, we are here to talk about AI tools and tech to watch in 2025. We're seeing a lot of this. Obviously, it's something that's on our radar as well. And we certainly have brought in the right person to chat about this. Brandon, good to see you again.
Good to see you again, Aaron. It's been a while.
Yes, sir. I think last time you were on was August, but this is your third visit to the program. So you're one of our most recurring guests, certainly.
Oh, look at that. Feels special.
That's right, buddy. And Brandon actually suggested this topic. We were trying to fill the spot and figure out, kind of what we were going to talk about. And thought it was a perfect one. So thank you for this. And we dug and came up, I think, with some compelling content. So we're going to jump into this in just a second. But as always, this is live. So it's running on all of our social channels. If you have questions or just want to comment or have a little bit of fun or disagree with what we're saying or disagree with Brandon, I'm sure that you will, then drop in a comment. We'd be happy to chat with each of you. So other than that, let's just have some fun and enjoy close to 30 minutes today. What do you say?
Sounds good to me.
All right. Brandon Steel, let's do your official intro. He's a senior instructor trainer at MyComputerCareer. He's an IT instructor with a fervor for education and empowerment. His mission, to guide, train, and watch as countless students unlock their potential and soar high in the industry. He holds several certifications, has taught over 2,000 students so far in his professional career. So kind of a big deal. Knows what he's doing. It's always nice when we get a chance to talk tech, obviously, but especially with someone like Brandon, we're still kind of in the process of kicking off 2025. So, we thought we'd look at some of the fun, maybe intriguing technologies that are going to drive the conversation because there's a lot to talk about around AI.
Yes.
Obviously, there always is, but even more now with some of the topics we're going to get into. So why don't we get into IT? Why don't we do it real quick here? We are coming down from CES, where obviously Brandon, Nvidia stole the show. I mean,
oh yeah,
no way around it. And and Jensen Huang they were the headlines. Jensen talked about robots, autonomous vehicles, and wowed everybody, took home all the awards. But you picked up on something else that he and Nvidia discussed, and that was smart glasses. Mm-hmm. Why and what's the buzz around tech-enabled eyewear right now?
Yeah, it's interesting. And I always wanted to attend one of the CES conferences. Maybe next year. I know it's going to be held in Las Vegas in January. So that you get to learn all the new gadgets and innovative technology. But this one in particular with the smart glasses, I don't know if anyone remembers. I think it was back in 2014. Google attempted to come out with their Google glasses, and they're kind of awkward looking. I don't know if you recall those.
Oh yeah.
But it was pretty much a failed attempt, and they eventually phased out of that program. And I personally believe it wasn't the right time. In technology, there's other factors to really make technology work. And back then in 2014, I mean, we didn't have 5G network implemented. And because of that, it really didn't gravitate to the consumer. But now with AI really becoming the new thing, as we say, there's this new introduction to wearable smart glasses, different ways we can use smart glass within our homes, wearable. But I do believe because we have this AI technology, now we can find better functionality with this. So I think is pretty interesting. And to see what they're going to be coming out with, particularly with Nvidia, as you know, they are killing the semiconductor market, and they're rolling out new AI chips to support, or I should say chips to support their AI models. So now that we're seeing that, I do believe we're going to see a really great opportunity in some advanced features in smartware and smart glasses.
That was kind of the question that I had. This has been tried before. and it really hasn't taken off. Although, Ray-Ban has there's a Ray-Ban. I can't remember the platform behind the smart tech that there are Ray-Ban smart glasses. It's predicted there's going to be 1 million sales.
Yeah, that's with Meta. Meta came out. I don't know, Aaron, you own a pair of Ray-Bans and some nice pair of glasses.
Yeah,
So I think that they're bringing some fashion into it, which I think was a crucial part in our society. It has to look cool as well as function. But with Meta, the Ray-Bans, they're incorporating their, I'm trying to remember the name of it, their something Quest, where Meta has their platform where you can,
I don't know.
the virtual environment. But Meta, aka Facebook, that's pretty much becoming a hot buzz gadget. And I believe they said they sold, I think, 1 million as of November. So definitely some movement in that area.
And there, Patricia's right on. It's MetaQuest.
MetaQuest, that's it.
Yeah. So I guess, and we don't have to get into all of the specifics, but how is AI, I guess for someone like me who doesn't really fully understand, how is AI going to be a game changer around wearable tech? Like, I mean, you get the question.
Yeah, absolutely. So when we think of wearable tech, we're talking the glasses, the watches. Now we have the rings. I think AI is going to make a difference because I think one of the issues we had was that the smartphone itself could do everything. And there's really no true incentive to have wearable glasses when you have a 4K camera and there's some functionality there. But I think with AI now, when we talk about being able to predict, analyze content, for example, with Google, one of their AI they're implementing in their wearable technology is that you can kind of zoom in on certain images and can search just online, and it can tell you exactly what it is you're looking at through your eyeglasses, and be able to give you a whole Wikipedia explanation of what you're looking at.
Awesome.
That would be very helpful if you're traveling international in different countries. So different things of that nature, I think, is really pretty cool.
Yeah, I heard even with Google, like with Maps, you wear their tech and it'll actually lay out your route. You can actually see it in real time, and the same thing, it'll point out landmarks. I mean, that's pretty cool if that does take off. So what are the roadblocks? What's going to hold back this from taking off in 2025? Or is that not going to be the case?
I think with any rollout with technology, we always have to consider the big one, security. And privacy. When we talk about wearable technology, what is it tracking? The metrics. I have a watch that monitors your heart rate, your location, your steps. But then if we have these glasses now, we have this thing of privacy of what you're looking at and how is that data protected. So I think that could be a potential, maybe not a roadblock, but something that is a little concern that we have to deal with, the privacy. And then overall cost, with AI, you need a lot of power, you need processing. And so with that, you have to balance power with cost to make it affordable for the average user. So I think that those are a couple of factors that we have to consider to really see this, really get to that massive level of people purchasing these products.
Again, for a noob like me, is storage an issue? Yes, no?
Absolutely. Yeah. Especially with the video. I mean, you have to think about, the type of video quality, 4K processing, and then allowing these AI models to interpret and analyze in real time, and then to be able to give you some type of output. Absolutely.
If you're out and about, you got to make sure that you have a connection,
Absolutely.
Strong connection too. So there's a lot there.
Absolutely.
All right. Another topic you highlighted, Brandon, AI-powered smart homes, which is, obviously we all kind of, I'm guessing, either have or have had a smart home device, but depending on what you read and what you paid attention to at CES, some of the conversation was around AI-powered ready for this? Washing machines,
Uh-oh.
faucets, countertop ovens, refrigerators, home security devices, water sensors. What are your thoughts here? The advancement and the adoption of some of the tech this year. Are we going to see more widely used smart home devices like these?
Oh, absolutely. They've been around for a while.
Yeah.
And, we all remember the first Alexa, Echo, and the Ring doorbell. And now we have the camera IoT devices. We're definitely going to see that. And I believe the use of these devices kind of outweigh the risk, because there is, which we'll get into a little bit, the risk of using the home tech appliances. But I think it's super cool because of a couple of things. I was looking at the countertop. I think it's Samsung, the countertop stovetop AI.
Yeah.
Has a little mini assistant, and you tell it what you're cooking, and it can make the proper adjustments. It has a camera. So I don't know, for those who like to podcast and show their cooking skills online, you have that feature. But outside of that, I mean, think about the reduction of fire, ruined food, the health benefits, maybe give you incentive to cook more because you have all of these bells and whistles. So I think that's interesting. And I do think we're going to see more use of smart devices, especially when we're talking about saving on electricity. You mentioned the smart water faucets to have temperature control. I don't know about you. I turn the shower on 10 minutes maybe before I get in.
Yeah.
But with the smart faucets, it's motion detection, and then gives you a summary at the end of the week of how many gallons of water you consume in your shower. So I do think that's interesting.
And like what you're talking about now, the diagnostic tech, I mean, that's not new. That's been on like fleets, your construction fleets and buses for a long time. And, if there's large organizations, they'll have diagnostics on those vehicles that will tell them if something's wrong, if they're low on gas, if they're speeding, where they are. There's a lot of benefits to it. But we're seeing this now, diagnostic tech in the home, like water sensors, if there's a leak, if there's something like that's going on in the home, are we going to see more of that diagnostic tech that could save homeowners big chunks of change?
Oh yeah, and this is a good topic actually, and there's a lot of information online. But do you remember when solar panels became a thing, and the government gave tax savings or credits to be able to modernize your home with solar panels or efficient light bulbs? You can get some savings. Yeah. I think that the more we see these diagnostic tech tools, such as the smart faucets, monitoring your HVAC, different areas in the home, that would give, I truly believe, to get that in place, we're going to see some tax benefits or maybe tax credits because you're implementing these smart devices in your home. Or think about the future as we build homes in the future, maybe we'll see just more of our new standard to have these different devices pre-installed.
That is a really good point. Yeah, really good point. Are we going to see maybe an overall break for folks who implement a full smart home? And that never even considered it. It's interesting. And Billy Rowlands over on LinkedIn. Hi guys. Smart countertop will be like a cooking chef in the kitchen. That's exactly personal cooking chef. I love it. And Patricia just a minute ago actually put up a note that said that her Alexa, we were talking about smart home devices, and her Alexa popped up and said, so obviously smart devices are always listening, but that's a good point. It leads us to the next point. Is there concern about smart home devices and privacy? If they, we implement smart home devices more frequently or more of them, are we concerned about privacy? Is that something that's going to have to be addressed at some point?
Absolutely. I'll put it this way. Any smart device that is capable of connecting to the internet has the potential to be hacked or some vulnerabilities. That's the first thing. Anything you're connecting to the internet, I mean, there's a risk factor there. And so a couple of things that you have to think about is that AI can misinterpret and be wrong at times. It's still a fairly new technology in the way we're using it. So we have to understand that AI it's definitely not perfect, and it can definitely give you the wrong results and misinterpret, what you're doing. And then I think another interesting thing with using more smart devices is that the basic security knowledge for the average user is going to be required.
Yeah.
In my opinion, if because the more you bring technology into your home, the responsibility becomes more on the user to protect themselves and understand the risks that they're taking when they're using these different products. So the more you have Alexa and the cameras, there's definitely a shift in responsibility where you really want to have a basic. You don't have to be a cybersecurity expert.
Yeah.
But I think two things: understand the risk when you're using these devices, and then what are some basic ways you can implement in your home to mitigate any risk, such as being hacked. Lord forbid someone can hack into, which there are articles about people outside using laser or certain probably heard of the Pineapple, which is a Wi-Fi receptor where you can receive these different signals, and hack into a thermostat and hike the temperature up. So these things are actually happening. They're not often, but that risk is definitely there. Absolutely.
That is insane.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what people are coming up with. And I'm really glad you said that, though, because I didn't even, obviously think about, I guess a lesser version of that is if you obviously have a Wi-Fi system in your home, which every single person does these days,
Mm-hmm.
you need to understand the security risks. That's an open, hackers can certainly get into your Wi-Fi. So maybe having a VPN, and what's a VPN, and how does that help mitigate those attacks, or having an open Wi-Fi. So you're saying something as basic as that kind of an understanding.
Yeah, simple thing, VPN, or most of us at home, we typically have two wireless networks. Most of us, we have a guest network, and then but most modern routers have the ability, you can create multiple networks. And just a simple thing of mitigation is to put your smart devices on its own network, especially if they're Wi-Fi enabled devices, to separate the devices that you use for your smart home. And then when you have guests or your regular computer work setup, you have it on a different network. So that's just a simple a first layer, a way you can kind of help with these different types of vulnerabilities.
Really good advice.
Mm-hmm.
Really good advice. All right. So you also sent me, Brandon, a list of 40 of the best AI tools by category in 2025.
Oh, it's a lot.
But you know what? It was broken up by free. It was broken up in category. Some of that, just to name a few, writing tools like Writer, RYTR,
Mm-hmm.
search engines, Perplexity. I've never heard of Perplexity, this Perplexity search engine. Image generators, video generators, app builders, meeting assistants. Every category has a recommended best tool.
Mm-hmm.
Since you called this out, are there any tools that might stand out this year? And on the flip side, are there any under the radar tools that you maybe plan on seeing or use?
Yeah, AI tools. This will be the year of AI tools. I think the past 2 years we've kind of seen the first version 1.0, but I think we're starting to figure out really how to get into this AI, and there's really a lot of good ones. You mentioned Perplexity, which is a search engine. We have been, I know I have. All I know when I hear search engine is Google.
Right.
That's pretty much the only way I know how to search. But with Perplexity, they kind of have this thought where taking away the searching, where we have to go through all of these different websites and kind of navigate ourselves through the internet to find what we're looking for. Where Perplexity, you can give it some really concise parameters on what you're looking for, what you're trying to do, and it will pretty much go across the internet, find specific things, even with citations, especially if it's something for higher ed where you're doing research, you can get actual legit information. So that's a great one, and I believe that is going to be a little bit in competition with some of the Chat GPT search that we see now. Another,
do you use Perplexity?
yeah, I like it. I've used it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Never heard of it. All right.
Yeah, check it out.
Yeah.
Another one that I think is interesting is resume builders, because what we find is that more and more companies are using AI to help recruit and find qualified employees. And so what they do is use some of these AI tools to search resumes and get the best of the best. So on the other side, we have to make sure that resumes are written in a way that we can get through those AI apps. So one example is Teal. That's becoming a really popular AI tool where you pretty much input your entire work history, education, life. You import what job description or post that you're trying to apply to, and it works in such a way where it sets up your resume based on your work experience, and then even gives you the weight, like 30% of your resume has project management, So it's a really good tool when you're really trying to fine tune and to really have an advantage, because that really is going to be a thing. So I like that one. To think of another one. I have my little list.
It's Teal, just like the color, Teal.
Teal, yep.
Got it. All right.
Or how about voice generators? I don't know if you remember when kind of the first generation of this.
Yeah, they were horrible.
They were horrible.
Yeah.
Now they're a little scary because they've gotten a little better. One in particular, 11 Labs. They do have a free version, but unfortunately, one thing you'll learn about AI tools, because of the processing requirements, they do have free versions, but to really get the true value of some of these tools, you do have to, unfortunately, get the paid version. But 11 Labs is great for voice generation for a lot of different, for a couple of reasons. But one in particular I like is that you can sample your own voice, but then it can translate it into other languages. So you don't have to actually learn Spanish anymore. Just input your voice.
Yeah.
You can use that for like your social media postings, or if you're a content creator and want to expand your audience, possibly. That to me, I think is really great.
I'm just making a note because that reminds me. That's another possible advantage, if I understand correctly, of eyeglasses. Wearable tech and eyeglasses, because if you are traveling internationally and you are using something like that, it can translate in real time for you what somebody's saying. And that is certainly a game changer if that's the case.
It might give me a little incentive to travel.
Yeah.
I think that's awesome.
Yeah. All right. So, and by the way, I forgot to mention at the jump here, I'm sure you're seeing it if you're tuning in, Patricia is sharing all of these links. So when we mention something, the links go up, so you can go check all these for yourself. And the AI tools were just posted as well. All right, I got to get back to it. I can't help it. I'm a bit of a geek this way, and it stood out so much. Autonomous vehicles. Are we going to see advancements here? There's all kinds of excitement right now. We are seeing more and more implementations, but do you think it's at a place where we're actually going to start seeing wider rollouts? Is the tech there? Is it safe? All the things that I'm sure you've thought of.
Well, now I feel safe. I tried the Waymo for the first time last year in Phoenix, Arizona, and that was quite an experience. But I think currently where we are, we're at a nice balance between autonomous vehicles and what I like to call, old school gas vehicles. Because in order for us to see a true, more of the autonomous vehicles, it goes back to there's other factors that move this autonomous vehicle. So Department of Transportation, working with city officials, charging stations. How do auto insurance companies deal with autonomous vehicle accidents and issues?
Yeah.
Considering the design of the roads, how to make AV safer and easier to implement in cities. And that's why you see there's a true limit now in even the United States of where we see AV, because some cities just don't have the infrastructure. Now, I live in Charlotte. I kind of laugh. We definitely couldn't have autonomous vehicles.
No way.
We're dealing with population issues. So just to have
Charlotte, Atlanta, not
it's just not it, right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of factors. So I think that this is going to be a long road ahead of us as we see other factors kind of have to play with this autonomous vehicle. But in the long term, I think it's a great benefit. We can get more people off the road. It's safer. If we're using electrical vehicles, we're saving in that aspect.
Yeah.
And, and then we're dealing with highly dense cities, which is always a problem with, traffic and, getting to different destinations. I do think that we're going to see, and it's just going to be a long journey, but we're getting there.
No, I'm glad you called those things out because, right now that's the topic. Right now it's what everybody's talking about. And it sounds exciting and it sounds great. But everything you just mentioned tells me that it's going to be a little while because there's a lot that has to go into it. Absolutely. And your point about adjusting roads and just that something that small is not small. That's a very big deal. And, think of Vegas, for example. I think it's called the Loop that Tesla has.
Yeah.
It's something like that?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
And that's autonomous vehicles, all Tesla, but it has its own dedicated tunnel. It takes you under the city and, takes you to where you want to go. Are there going to be more examples like that? And if that's the case, what's that going to cost?
Oh, can you imagine?
Yeah, that's crazy. Exactly right.
The cost is, so I don't know. It's going to be a while.
Yeah, it's going to be a while. No doubt about it. All right, let's talk real quickly and then I'll get you out of here on this one. Apple AI, how is the Apple AI rollout being received? And the new rollout on the newest phones. Are we going to see more advancements from Apple and their competitors? I know Samsung. I know Copilot as well. I know there's a lot going on with mobile devices and AI. Are we going to continue to see advancements? Is it well received? Or have they been well received, and will they continue to be?
I don't know if you recently received the update, the Siri AI update, and kind of used some of the features. I think it go back to that. It's going to be a slow rollout where we see the true benefit. I was actually amazed by the competitor, Samsung Galaxy, their S25 series. They're implementing their true AI companion using Gemini, I believe. And when you look at their features, they're pretty similar to Apple's intelligence, Siri intelligence. So I think right now we're just in the competition where they're trying to get to the baseline where all of these tools, such as the lens, where you can search through your video, they're just trying to get to a baseline. I don't think the true bells and whistles have been put forth to the people yet. I think that they're saving the best for last. So I think in the next couple of years, especially, we have to wait for technology to catch up. We talk about the processors and the internet speed requirements for these AI tools to work. So I think they're saving the best in the near future.
That makes a lot of good sense. And to answer your question, I do have it installed. I haven't used really anything with Siri yet. Which just makes perfect sense. I'm an old guy. But is the Siri function obviously has been amplified with the new phone? Is it something that you're using widely?
Yeah, not as much, but there's a couple, one quick example on time here, the ability for applications to speak to each other. So, with the AI, it's able to detect what you're doing in these various apps and use that data when you're sending a text message or doing a search. So you're getting a better personal experience, I guess, because it's using all these data points from everything you're doing on your phone and what you're accessing to really give you the best result, and even being a little bit predictive about it. So the whole text message, that I find pretty interesting, that, you know, which is a little concerning, because now I have to ask myself when I get text messages, are they AI generated, or was this from the heart? So, you know,
No, that's a good point. Yeah. We're getting further away from being personal. We're getting more and more impersonal with AI, but we're moving quicker. Is that a good thing? Longer conversation. That's
right. I call it the human factor. We can't get rid of it. The human factor.
That's our philosophical discussion. We'll handle that at some point down the road.
There we go.
All right, Brandon. I think it's been a great look at kind of what we can plan to see. Brandon, that's a good question by Patricia. Is this AI? Okay. All right. All right. Really appreciate you joining us. I appreciate the insights, as do the audience. So we certainly want to have you back on. You know you have an open invitation, but it's been a great chat. Folks, pay attention. Pay attention to what's going on out there. There's a lot in our world, in the world of tech right now. It's an exciting place to be. And by the way, I think the most recent report says that organizations are spending 9.5% more on IT this year. So it's a priority. And of course, AI is driving that and will continue to drive that, at least for the next few years. So jump into IT if you're interested. Brandon, what'd I miss?
Nothing. Thank you, Aaron, for having me. This was great for a Friday to talk about AI and tools. So I'm always looking for another opportunity.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I know you're busy. So I'll let you get back to what you were doing. And everybody else, thank you so much for joining us on your lunch hour. We will see you next week. Next week, we're going to talk military. We're going to talk, I think, military transition, but we'll know a little bit more about that early in the week. So we're looking forward to seeing you then. And until then, have an awesome weekend. Thank you so much. Randy, you mind hanging around?
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks, folks.